everybody. Welcome to our podcast. I've heard it both ways. My name is Ben McMurray. With me, I have...
Maria Summers.
And
Juan Escalante.
Yes, we are all educators. We teach language.
And educated.
Yeah, we're educated educators. Okay,
Yeah.
That's good. Thanks for adding that in, Maria.
You're welcome.
And we wanted to create a podcast where we can discuss things, where we can disagree and agree, because we have heard most things both ways. So, for our first episode for this podcast, we wanted to have a dialogue about some of the topics that are important to teachers that we might want to include in future episodes. So, we've already brainstormed of a list, but maybe it'd be nice to talk about it and see what other things we might want to talk about. One of the first things on our list was managing teacher emotions. I know that sometimes I have problems.
Like all the time.
Like all the time. Thanks, Maria.
You're welcome.
But I think one of the big challenges that teachers have is that we need to be a thermostat and not a thermometer.
Ooh. Tell us more about that.
Well, a thermostat regulates the temperature. A thermometer measures the temperature. So if we're thermometers and in our classroom, that we're matching the energy and the emotion of the class, we're not really doing our job. But as a thermostat, we can say, you know what, we need more energy, we need more positivity. Hopefully we never say you need more negativity. But anyway, I know that, okay, I hate to admit this, but hangry. Let's just talk about being hangry in teaching for a second. I mean, does that ever happen to you, Juan?
Happens all the time.
Probably. Oh, really? Okay.
Well, what happens is, especially this semester, for example, I have, on Mondays and Fridays, I have 4 classes, and I have 3 classes in a row. And that cuts into my lunchtime. So by the end of my 3rd class, that's when I start to get a little bit hangry, I notice. And one of the things I think teachers, all of us need to work on, especially me, is just recognizing when changes in emotion are happening. Like, regulate your emotions a little bit better and take a second, use some strategies to like calm down or cool off a little bit. But being hangry happens a lot.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad I brought that up, because teaching 4 classes is rough in one
It
day.
is. Yeah.
I mean, we say that, but there's probably people listening who are in K through 12 who teach 8 periods a day. So context is everything, and
Yeah.
that's important. But I think this is a good topic. Do you think we should talk about this in one of our future episodes?
You
I
should
think we
totally
should.
talk about this.
Ray, you have been kind of quiet about this emotion thing. Is there anything you want to add?
Are you feeling
Well,
emotional?
I'm never hangry, ever, because I'm always perfect. But that aside, I
Wait,
know
hold
it.
on.
I've
I
heard
can't
it.
just leave that right there.
I've heard it.
I've heard it
happens
both
to
ways.
other people. Ooh, I've heard it both ways too.
You're about you being perfect.
Oh, no, there's just one way.
No one's ever heard that.
No. No, but it's true. As teachers, we have a lot of emotions, and it's normal because we're people, we're busy. But learning strategies, like Juan mentioned, it's a good way to kind of get
Just
over
being
that.
self-aware, yeah.
So this might be good for our next episode, and maybe our homework is to come prepared with some good resources and some things that we can share.
Sure.
And this was originally, we were thinking would be good for our second episode. In our first episode, we were going to talk about challenges of parenting while teaching. There are lots of teachers that are parents. All 3 of us are parents. We all have different children. For example, Juan's children are the cutest in the world.
Yes, they are.
Good, that was
I
the
agree.
right answer.
Very objective. Yeah.
But we have children that are different ages. Has that ever impacted you, Maria, parenting and being a teacher?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, is the mom guilt. Sorry, guys, you probably don't have that. You have
There's
the
dad
dad
guilt.
There
Yeah.
you go. But yeah, just leaving my kids at home or with a babysitter or with, my husband that's also busy and has a full-time job. And me going to teach, to do my job, which I love, That's been very hard, but
I think
it
I
works
think
out.
I think Ben, you mentioned that we have kids at different stages, and not only different stages but different needs, right? Our kids are very different, and for me, my kids are little, 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they just require so much attention. And Maria was talking about mom guilt. Well, I have dad guilt because I go to work and I leave the two girls at home with my wife, and she has to deal with them for hours until I get home. So, yeah, it's something that I'm still getting used to it. It's
Yeah,
hard.
dad guilt is a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we just call it parent guilt.
Parent guilt. There you go.
Like that.
Inclusive.
You're full of good insights today.
Oh,
man.
thanks.
What's up with that?
I don't know. I don't know. But this reminds me of something else. So, with parenting, and I know Maria has experienced this with her kids in school, and I don't know, Juan, if you have quite yet, because your kids aren't going to school right now.
Not yet. Yeah.
But interacting with other teachers, like your kids' teachers, is a completely different ballgame when you have experience as an educator. And in my case, my kids have traumatic pasts as adopted children, and I have more training on dealing with trauma victims than the teachers do. And oftentimes their teachers have so much less experience. For example, one of my kids' teachers, this is their second year. And so,
Oh wow.
yeah, so it becomes really interesting as a parent to talk to these teachers and to try to negotiate needs that need to be met. So I think this could be a good topic.
It'll be a great topic.
I'm glad that
We
we
should
talked
come
about
back
this.
to it, yeah.
We fleshed out some things that we can talk about.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this would be a good episode.
If I may add another topic
Yeah.
for discussion, technology is growing a lot and improving in a lot of ways, and it's kind of scary for some people. Some teachers that have been in the field for a long time and kind of have done things a certain way are a little bit hesitant to new technologies. Students are also kind of being bombarded by a bunch of different apps and websites and things like that. So maybe we can have an episode where we discuss new technologies and maybe effective ways of using them in the classroom. Educating students as well as teachers in the most appropriate ways of using technology today.
I think that's a great idea. Just as a curiosity, so we all teach in higher ed contexts. And what do you tell your students about using phones in class?
That's so funny because I think from the three of us, I'm the one that has the least experience that's been teaching out there, right? And I remember when I first started, you heard it both ways?
Yeah.
I think when I first started teaching, I was very strict about that, and I always would tell them to like put it away. And I think I've changed over the years where now I don't let it bother me as much as I used to. And if I see somebody with a phone, maybe I'll just let it go and kind of choose my battles. I think if it happens, if it's like the whole class, then I do say something, but typically I just kind of let it go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I told my class this semester, I said, you're adults, use your phones how you want to, but as soon as you use your phone in a way that disturbs one of your classmates, then I will intervene. Otherwise, if you're sitting at the back of the class playing a video game, I'm not going to come check your phone. But that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I think that's kind of my approach to you. You're adults. You make decisions. You get as much of the class as much as you put in. You get. So just kind of give them that choice. But also, I try to incorporate a lot of activities that involve the phone. To kind of say like, hey, you
Yeah.
get to use the phone today, or for this activity, pull out your phones. We're gonna do a little game or something. So. And then I can kind of negotiate the use of cell phone in the classroom with them. I can say like, okay, we're going to do this activity, and after this activity, we're going to put our phones away for a little bit. We might take them out again, but for now, there's just,
It also makes me think about like when we are in meetings, for example, like how often do we like glance at our phone or like just pick it up?
Yeah.
Never.
And whoever's presenting or teaching, like they don't tell us anything. They don't say anything to us, right? So I feel like what you said earlier, Ben, our students are adults for
And
the
I
most
think,
part.
yeah, for the most part. I think that's another interesting topic we could talk about. I'll come back to that in a second because I think, well, I'll just mention it here. Working with young adults has its own challenges where they're struggling with being independent, getting their own sense of self, and I mean, we know physically that brains aren't fully developed until mid-20s. So I think that's something we could talk about. But I wanted to talk about, I don't think it's an elephant in the room. I don't really like that phrase because I'd love to have an elephant in a room. Wouldn't that be awesome? But ChatGPT, AI,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that is
Yeah.
the elephant in the room.
Well, an elephant being it's so big and we're avoiding it, but we're not avoiding it. We're going to address
I think we
AI
need to
right
talk about
head-on.
it. Yeah.
I actually had a really good lesson with my students, yesterday, about how to use ChatGPT to actually write essays without
Yeah.
it compromising their academic integrity. So I think we should talk about
Yeah.
this. There might
That's
be this might be a 3-part episode or something.
that. I was gonna say there's a lot to say about that, and I have some thoughts and opinions about that. So
That's good.
that'll be a
Did
good
you
one.
just write an article about it
Yeah,
and it got published? And you're cool like that?
I am cool like that. I'll do a shameless plug here.
Hey,
Um,
I opened it up, so
Yeah,
did.
it's
feel
not.
free.
There is no shame.
So I'm going to New York next week to present at the Artificial Intelligence Research in Applied Linguistics Conference. That's a mouthful. So we'll
That's
present next week. We have 2 projects that we're presenting there, and I'm excited about that. We also just got accepted to present at Thai TESOL, so we'll do that in January. And it's all AI related. So
That's exciting.
That
I'll
is
share that.
exciting.
I'll share more about that
Congratulations,
next
Juan.
time. Thank you. It's
That's
exciting.
awesome.
Thank you.
We'll have to have one of our episodes being you giving a full report on your
Oh, wow.
experience. Yeah, it'll just be all.
I'll just bring pictures of all the food I ate at the different sites.
Yeah, it'll be. I've heard it both ways, featuring Juan.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's awesome. Well, some of the other topics: burnout.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Maria, have you ever experienced burnout? So why is it a good topic if you've never experienced it?
I have many times,
Okay.
but I dealt with it.
Well, then we need to learn from the
We
master.
do need, not, yeah, definitely.
I feel like I get burned out, kind of, not burned out of teaching very easily, but burned out of teaching something.
Yeah, like
Like, if I'm teaching multiple writing classes, I
Yeah.
get burned out of teaching writing. I'm not ready to, take a break. But we should totally talk about burnout.
Definitely.
what's interesting to me is that burnout doesn't have to. It doesn't always happen after a long time of doing something.
No,
It can happen very quickly. So, and it's important too for people to recognize what it looks like. Some people may experience it and they don't even know that they're burned
Yeah.
out.
it's true.
So, that's a good
Yeah,
topic.
that's really good. Okay, that's a good one. We talked a little bit about technologies. Oh, positive psychology. Maria knows something about that.
A little bit.
Maria's really positive.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
It is
true.
true.
So is Ben. So is Juan.
Well, we try, right?
I try to be positive.
Me too. But we did some here at our institution. We created some materials for incorporating positive psychology into language learning, and we've done some research, and hopefully we'll have some publications coming out about that. But
Nice.
I think that's definitely a topic that's of interest. Now, recently, Maria and I submitted something to TESOL, and one of the reviewers mentioned that
They cringe when they
they
hear the
cringe when they
term?
hear positive.
Yes.
Really? That's what they wrote?
Yeah. So
It was fun.
I'm
I
sure.
do think that there is some people are tired of hearing about positive psychology in education, but there's more to positive psychology than than well-being and positive psychology interventions, right? There's positive institutions, and what was the other pillar? Character strengths.
Character strengths.
Character strengths. So, well-being, character strengths, and positive institutions are 3 pillars of positive psychology. So I think we could talk about some of those things. I think character strengths is really interesting because we want, as someone who works with pre-service teachers, we really want them to develop their own style as a teacher and teach to their strengths.
Yeah.
So that could be a good one. Any
It
other
could be a
comments?
Great one. Good.
I have borrowed some of your materials and I use them in my classes, and students respond well. So
Yeah.
Yep.
They like it, and it doesn't necessarily negatively impact their language proficiency gains. So
Yep.
that's awesome. Okay, funniest, most embarrassing teaching stories. Do we want to have an episode where we just talk about some of these?
I think we should.
It might make other people feel like they're
Normal.
not alone and normal.
Yeah.
So who has a good one to share right now? Anybody?
I think you do, Ben.
I'm trying to think.
I
Oh,
don't.
well, I did have a substitute come into my class today, and they were supposed to spend the time kind of workshopping and writing, but I found out that they did karaoke instead.
Hey,
What I heard was that they had so much fun.
how
Yeah,
did that
In what
happen?
would otherwise be a very boring class. So
absolutely.
I mean, that substitute
absolutely.
teacher was pretty cool to
So
do
was that tie into writing in some way?
Yeah, somehow. I
Yeah.
don't
Okay,
know how
that's
it did,
that's
but
very
I
creative.
trust the substitute with my life.
Whoops.
And if she thought that was a good thing to do, I am 100% supportive of it.
Well, I think it was a great thing to do. That substitute totally made the right
Yeah.
decision there. And the tie-in with writing is this. The students, they took a break from writing. They
Writer's
sang
block,
some
right?
songs which they loved, and their energy level went way up, and then they were ready to continue writing.
I think it's good. See, I told
There's
you.
that.
Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
so we won't mention this substitute's name.
Yeah, I don't think we need to
We'll
drop
protect,
any names
we'll
here.
protect the innocent and the guilty. Um,
Whoever that was, it was a very smart move. I just have to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. So that wasn't really funny.
But it was interesting.
It was interesting.
Also, the students loved it, and the students love that substitute teacher. So there's that.
That one I can definitely say I've heard it both ways. Just kidding. I haven't. I've only heard it one way. They all love you. I mean, they all love the substitute.
Oh.
Oh, I messed that one up big time.
Oh,
Okay, well,
interesting. It all makes sense now.
Juan,
Yes.
I'm trying to remember, but I remember there being some kind of funny thing that happened when we were working in the same place.
I can think of a few things that maybe weren't necessarily funny,
Okay.
but more challenges that I had in my classroom several
Okay.
times.
Hey, Juan, I remembered something. Sorry.
You do?
Think about it.
Okay, don't forget it.
Remember
Oh, yeah, you
when
too.
we were doing core together
Uh-huh.
and the electricity went off right before classes
I
and we
don't,
had to scramble?
I don't remember that.
What?
He's blocked it out.
I don't. I blocked it out.
No, it
Something,
was funny.
something that I don't know if you guys know about this about me, but I have terrible memory. Really, really bad memory.
That explains why you haven't given me that $1,000 you promised.
I did.
Yeah.
No, you
Promise?
didn't promise it to him. You owe
Oh.
it to him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
mean-
right.
Well, that's why I forget
That's what I
things.
meant to say.
I don't remember that, Maria. I remember we had.
It was
I,
so
re-
fun.
I remember the graduations that we'd have for core,
Oh, yes.
and I remember we had a particular group of students that went all out with their performances.
Yes.
They had like
Some were
music
longer
and
than
dancing and
others.
stuff.
Yes.
What's that?
Some were longer than others,
Yes, I remember that.
but they were fun.
Yeah.
So fun. Lots of creativity.
But I remember.
The lights one. The lights.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll see if I can remember. Yeah, I'll work on that.
And the lights came back on like 2 minutes before class.
See,
So we were good.
that's good.
Yeah.
I remember, Ben, when I first started working there, I had some challenges with a class or two that I had, and we ended up in your office talking about stuff.
This is serious.
Do you remember?
Oh, you and the other teachers, right?
Yes, that was one, and then there was another one.
Yeah.
We
I
need
don't-
an episode on
Ooh,
this.
intrigue.
We
Yeah.
won't
I want to
spoil
hear
it.
about it.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds like kind of two things. We could have one where we just talk about funny things, or interesting things, but also this is like challenges.
There's a lot of challenges.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
can talk about that.
that's good. I like that. Some of the other topics: instilling a love of learning in our own children.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be interesting to everybody who's listening, but once
I think if
again,
you have children, you'd find it interesting. Like, here's some of the things that we've done
yeah.
that appear to be working. Maybe,
Yeah, I think maybe working.
maybe working. We don't
I
know yet.
I mean, Maria just goes and complains about school at home, so.
Great.
Not true.
But Juan, for example, I'm like 99% sure that you read to your children.
I do.
Yeah. And dads reading to their kids, there has been research that shows that has a positive impact on their future education.
That's awesome.
Okay, I'm just gonna jump in here, but I do agree with you. But also moms.
Yes,
Let's
Both.
it is
Yes.
parents, but I just want to say that there has been specific things that talk about dads.
I think dads read in a different way than moms read to their children.
Oh, I should totally find
Hmm.
this.
And
Oh.
I think I've noticed this in Taylor, my
Okay,
husband.
we need an episode about this because I
The
need
way
to know
we
the
read
differences.
to our kids, it's much more fun than the way I read to our kids.
There
Oh.
always are giraffes and elephants in everything I read because I'm just trying to make sure they understand what's going on.
Our favorite book. My oldest is going on 3.5. She just turned 3.5. And one of the books that has been read over and over again over this last 3.5 years is, what's the name? Danny the Duck with No Quack. Do you guys know that one?
I don't know
No,
that one.
I don't.
Look it up. It's a favorite at my house. We read it several times a day.
What is it called?
Danny the Duck with No Quack.
Danny the Duck with No Quack.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I really want to find this
Yeah.
excerpt from a book. Well, no, that's not it. Or is it? No. Anyway, it was a story I read to my daughter, and in it talked about how reading with mom was never the same as reading with dad, and it talked about everything that dads do when they're reading, and it was really good. And my daughter just laughed and said, "That's you. You're doing it right now."
That's cute.
It was cute. She hasn't let me read to her for a long time, but
You're no
I
fan anymore. That's
I
why.
should insist. Well, and then my son, when I was reading these books that were steampunk books based in Victorian England, he insisted that I use a British accent the whole time.
Oh, wow.
So I had a horrible British accent the whole
I-
time. And
I
I
have-
would get tired and just start talking normally, and he goes, "Dad, stop it. I need the British accent."
I haven't been told to do an accent when I read.
Do
But
you have an accent when you read? Oh, you haven't been told.
I haven't been asked to do one.
It's because you have one already.
I know.
So do I. So it's okay.
You guys have beautiful.
No, you
We
don't.
do have beautiful.
I don't think you do. But
I do. I don't think you do.
If we can get her worked up and emotional about something, we'll start hearing
out.
her TH sounds
Hey.
very.
Stop it.
me too.
Oh, thank you.
My TH. Yeah.
This is my problem, but I'm a native English speaker, but I have a problem with pronouns. I use the wrong pronouns all the time. Just
How?
ask my wife.
That's one of your problems. Let's make sure that we mention that one of your
Okay,
problems.
that's one of my problems.
There
How do you
are-
get pronouns wrong?
I don't know. I just do he and she. I swap them when I'm talking for some reason.
Huh.
Yeah,
So maybe he can give us some ideas.
maybe he can give me some ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually it's when I'm trying to retell a story, when I'm trying to do a superior level task.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
what
So maybe,
happens.
yeah. We got to get you to Superior, Ben.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
It'll take a while.
It might take a long time. Yes. Well, anyway, I think that's pretty good. We've talked about a lot of things. We have a lot more that we can talk about, but I think we've got a good start. We hope that you subscribe, and that you listen to our podcast. We'll also post the video on YouTube and share with your friends. Hopefully, we'll be entertaining more so than we were. Well, we were pretty.
I think it
Okay,
was good.
I
You
was
weren't
entertaining.
that entertaining.
Maria.
You just need to work on that a little
Okay,
more.
well, maybe I'll work on it.
Maybe we'll practice before our next round.
So does that just mean you're going to give me a hard time for
Yeah.
next week?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
But who's going to give Juan a hard time?
We can
No.
all do it.
Let's
No.
just text Juan the whole week, and just keep him on his toes.
It's a great idea.
We could send
When
him,
he's in class, especially.
yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
why aren't you answering? Come on. That's another topic. Teachers texting during class.
Yeah, Ben, you
Bum,
do
bum,
that.
bum.
Who does that? You text in class? Ben. Oh
She
my
just
goodness.
outed me.
Oh my
How
God.
dare you? Yeah,
Wait,
I,
if-
I have texted in class.
I have two. To
To
him.
each other? I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, stop texting me.
Like, hey, turn it down. It's too loud.
All right, well, that wraps up our show for today. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed it.
Bye,
See you
guys.
later.
Thank you. Bye.